country is broke. Those for you who follow news will know that the government has just concluded negotiations with the IMF for a 3-year program. Now, these are the programs we used to have in the early 90s. Many of you do not know, young people did not experience live through, called SAPs, Structural Adjustment Programs. Countries, when they go broke, unlike companies, are not liquidated. This IMF program is the equivalent of putting the country in receivership. Okay? So Kenya is in receivership. So any promises anybody is making to you that they are going to deliver 35%, that they are going to do this, those programs have to be approved by the IMF in Washington, then they will not be approved. Already, this is already being implemented. The austerity is already being implemented. The tax measures you have seen being implemented since January are part of it. There is going to be rollback of government expenditure, particularly, and that tends to hit mostly the services to people. There is a demand that the government retrenched close to 100,000 people during the course of the program. Many of you young people have not experienced this, and this hurts the whole economy. So the message is, if a government has been in power for 9 years, going to 10, and the end is it is put in receivership by the international financial institutions, that government has failed, isn't it? It's a failed government. What then should be the fate of that government? It should be voted out, isn't it? Now, the only recourse we have as citizens when a government fails is the ballot. It's the power to vote it out of office, yeah, to fire them. You should have the, as citizens, if we are sovereign, that sovereignty is exercised by having the power to hire and fire. And you know that where you work, or if you're an employee or an employer, or even if you have contracted somebody to provide you the services, it's based on performance. If they deliver, you pay. If they do not, you fire. Now, BBI is about taking away our power to hire and fire governments based on their performance. Yeah? Because you have observed that when the 2017 election happened, it was annulled by the Supreme Court. That is how we are here. The Supreme Court said that the election must be conducted as per the Constitution. The IEBC, which was captured by the government, and the incumbent said that it will not happen. They will not implement the recommendations of the Supreme Court in the repeat election, and obviously that made the opposition to boycott the election, and the process led on that. Instead of implementing the Constitution, Uhuru and Raila got together in a private deal. That's what we are dealing with today. So the process of subverting the Constitution and getting away from the power of citizens to hire and fire them started then. And what they are doing now is to create a mechanism. They want to institutionalize arrangement where they have a majoritarian tribe kingpin system, and they can be succeeding themselves by handing over power to whichever kingpin of the tribe that they want, and the power rotates among them. They do not want to be hired and fired by citizens. Now, another thing we want to convey message to the public is that the BBI referendum, if it comes, is not the end. People are seeing it. We are seeing as if it will be the final arbiter, that the vote, whether we vote yes or no, will be the final arbiter. It isn't, because the objective is to open up the Constitution. This Constitution has survived 10 years. It's the longest that a Constitution has survived in this country. They did not think it would last that long. They need to open it up so that they are not subjected to it. The idea is to tear up. And we know after the BBI, you've opened it with the BBI, then everything is up for grabs. It's game. The targets, we think, if these go through, we know the things they are most against. One of them is term limits. So if they open up the Constitution with the BBI, they can bribe and intimidate Parliament, they can probably rig the referendum. What is to stop them to come for a second helping? And the second helping will be to remove term limits. And that can be done before 2022. They can go together, or a third helping, which is to take away judicial independence. Because once you take away the judicial independence, something like the Maraga ruling will never happen again. Because that really rankles. And finally, because this has happened before, devolution. Because devolution is the one which attempts to remove control of resources and takes away power from them. They don't like it, and we know it. We had independent local authorities at independence. By, I think, around 1974, amendments have been made that they had actually become appendages of the Ministry of Local Government. If they open the Constitution, devolution will go the same way. So, if term limits go, and independent judiciary goes, and devolution goes, what will be left? The ultimate, which is what you see in a very devious way, is the power of citizens even to protest, even to challenge what they are doing. And that is in the Bill of Rights. Very innocuous looking things. The freedom of speech and freedom of assembly are the most powerful political instruments that citizens have. That if we disagree with the way we are governed, we can speak and we can assemble. Because what that does is undermine the legitimacy of those people who are trying to lie that they are governing people and the people agree with them. You have seen already that they are assaulting those powers. I saw last week or the week before, some activists from the coast, Muhuri, were arrested in Taita. And they were protesting health services failure. That's how they push the limit. They push the envelope. So that within no time, meetings like this will not happen. We've been there before. Sheikh has talked about it. So we want to, as I conclude, we want the young people to know that already there is a lot of regression. The kind of fear, atmosphere of fear that we are seeing today is not something we have seen since the 80s. Those of us who are there in the 80s remember this. He talked about it. The idea is you want to ask your colleagues, you want to ask the people, why would you expect people who have failed to deliver when you have a constitution which holds them accountable? After they have removed those accountability mechanisms, why? Why would they deliver? Why would they bother to deliver? So we want to emphasize and get people to reflect on it. There is a direct connection, very direct connection, between your political rights and your livelihoods. And the capacity of government to not destroy, they don't have to deliver, not destroy your livelihoods, because they're doing their destroying. And if they take away the political rights, it's not an either or. Political rights and economic and social rights and your well-being are inextricably bound. If they take away the Constitution, the 2010 Constitution, we can assure you, you will be both impoverished and oppressed. Finally, we want you to reflect on the fact that defending the freedom that we have today, the Constitution of Kenya 2010 that we have won for ourselves, is so much easier. It looks difficult, but what we have to sacrifice is so little compared to what you would have to sacrifice to regain that freedom when you've lost it. Those of us who've been there, we know. If we lose it, regaining it may even come after actual physical war. If you look at this where people have lost their freedom, once these people take away our freedoms and they're enjoying the power, they don't give it up. You have to fight. So good people, let us defend what we have, because the price that would have to be paid to regain it is so much higher. Thank you very much.